Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what are those. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grind and shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it them all. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. I tell I'm running out of breath, I tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, goddammit, we fresh.
Oh yeah, welcome to another edition of Fresh is the Word. I'm your host, K Fresh. Like always, we got a lot to talk about this week in the world of music, pro wrestling, and MMA. Specifically, WWE wrestling, since this Sunday is the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, with the triple main events, all Hell in a Cell matches. Seth Rollins versus the champion, Kevin Owens. And then my favorite match of the night, for the women's title, Charlotte, the challenger, versus the champ, Sasha Banks. And then also for the U.S. title, Roman Reigns, the champ, versus Rusev. So we got a lot to talk about in regards to that and just, WWE in general. Then we ended with a little bit of MMA. But to start things off, I have an interview that I did recently with Detroit hip-hop producer extraordinaire Apollo Brown. I've known Apollo for a long time, before he was even Apollo Brown. And now he has crafted a great life for himself, where he's been able to, he can go overseas and tour for a month or two based off just his music. He could just play beats. It's fucking crazy. So it was good to talk with him. And if you'd like to support the Fresh is the Word podcast, there's many ways you can do it. First, you can go to the website, which is freshasthepodcast.com, and click on the support the podcast link. And there's a PayPal link you can shoot any money you'd like to donate. Or there's an Amazon link. Use that link if you want to purchase anything on Amazon. And they'll send back a little bit of commission to Fresh is the Word that way. If you'd like to spread the word on Fresh is the Word, you can go to our social media pages, which are Twitter and Instagram is Fresh is the Word 1. That's Fresh is the Word, then the number 1. Or you can go to Facebook, which is facebook.com/Fresh is the Podcast. And make sure you subscribe to Fresh is the Word on iTunes and on Stitcher. Those links are on the website or on the SoundCloud page, which is at soundcloud.com/Fresh is the Podcast. And please go on to iTunes and give us a really dope 5-star rating. That'll really help out the show and help out people, just getting to know this, podcast that I'm really, putting a lot of energy into. So let's get into the interview with Apollo Brown.
Good shit. What's his face? Dan Severn.
Dude, I just met Dan Severn.
Oh, really?
Because he was at one of the...
Dan Severn was a beast, man.
Yeah, he was at one of the indie wrestling events I went to in Cleveland.
Oh, really?
And
he's from Michigan, too.
Yeah. So, I remember that, too. And,
Those were the days, man. It was like Ken Shamrock was a beast. Hoist was a beast, but I hated his fighting style because it was just all ground. And he just was boring as hell to watch, man. He was just submission all day, submission hold. And it was smart, but it was like, it wasn't entertaining, man, because he just has you on the ground and just holds you. And you're like, all right, you guys gonna do something? But and then Dan Severn would just beat your ass, man. He just pound you the fuck out, and that was crazy. But yeah, and what's her face just retired, I guess. What's her face? The chick just got beat up not too long ago. The cocky chick, man. She was like the face of women's MMA.
What do you mean, Ronda Rousey?
Yeah, Rousey. Yeah.
No, it's word that she's coming back.
I just read an article, man, where they talking about. She just said she's done and she's going to show business instead. I don't know. It might be some bullshit.
Yeah, with that stuff, it's like,
Yeah. I mean,
shoot, man. Chael Sonnen just came back, and he's part of Bellator now, and nobody thought he'd leave the UFC or anything. So you never know what's going on. But apparently, the rumor is Ronda Rousey's gonna come back, and they're actually gonna give her a title shot against Amanda Nunes, who has the belt right now.
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see.
We'll see. Even though I don't know if she deserves it.
Yeah, she needs to work up to that shit.
But then again, like, that belt has been a hot potato. Like, nobody's nobody's successfully defended it. So pretty much everybody else in that division has lost recently too. So one way or another. So I'm not sure who would be the next.
It's crazy how MMA, man, it's just like kind of took over the spot of boxing, man. Like, boxing just sucks these days. It's just like there's literally one boxer in the sport. I mean, like Floyd is the only one that people are checking for. And if Floyd doesn't have a fight, then it's like,
and then in
nobody's
boxing,
watching.
And in boxing, they have so many titles now.
Yeah.
That it's not even special to be a champ.
Well, they got like 6 divisions or something like that per belt, or
something like that. But it's crazy. Like, there's so many
featherweight,
belts.
bantamweight, lightweight, light heavyweight, middleweight, heavyweight. Like,
there's so many belts that it's not even special anymore.
But it's not even entertaining anymore, man. It's not exciting, dog. It was like in the 80s and 90s, the shit was exciting, man. You had like, that's back when the heavyweights were like really ruling that shit. And now you got all these little featherweights and shit, people your size and shit ruling.
Right, it's like,
it's like that. You're not gonna really see. You're gonna just see like stings and shit like that. You're not gonna see like crazy knockouts and crazy. Just
you're gonna see these little stings, little
like stings,
little
man,
fast
little
stings,
jabs, and you're gonna see like mad like 12-round fights, man, just full bouts, and nobody wants to see a full bout. Yeah, we say that we're gonna get our money's worth. But I think we're just as happy paying $75 for a round 1 knockout. You know what I'm saying? If it's a dope knockout. Like, yo, he killed him. Like, people do that shit with Mike all the time, man. Like, you knew that Mike doesn't last past 4 rounds, man. If Mike's going 4 rounds, he's not going to win, period, because he doesn't have the stamina. But, so you knew when you pay your $60 for the fucking pay-per-view, you're only going to get maybe 1, 2, 3 rounds, man.
Yeah, a few months back, I forget who was fighting. There was a boxing match. So it was the first time in like 50 years that they showed it on CBS. And that was a really incredible boxing match. You know, I don't really follow too much boxing.
Yeah, I don't either anymore.
But there was such a big hype on it that I watched it, and it lived up to all the hype. I forget who it was. But I guess it was the first time in like 50 years that CBS showed it on prime time, and it was a really incredible. It's like
now, man, it's like you have to be a superstar to even attract any attention to the game. And if like Floyd, if he stops boxing right now, if he retires, there's nobody else that anybody wants to watch.
Right, and they're trying
Adrian Bonner, but nobody likes him. He's a fucking cocky bastard, and nobody likes that dude. So it's I mean, the sport is dying big time, man. It's like almost dead.
Yeah, and UFC has been able to pick up some momentum because they've been able to get the hype machine behind a few people and it stick, you know.
Absolutely, man.
With the Conor McGregors and
it's just
Rouseys
it's exciting to watch. You know?
Yeah.
People want like, because you can go rounds and rounds in a boxing match with just jabs, hold, jabs, hold, and you're just like, fuck, this is boring as hell. UFC, I mean, it's 3 rounds of fucking ground and pound, man. Like,
even if it's boring, it's done with really quickly.
Yeah.
It's done with in 3, maybe 5 rounds. You know,
they got all the steam, man, and it's dope. I don't know, man. Shit's turned into a lot better sport than. I mean, I always thought it was gonna be a fad for a while. When it first came out, I thought it was gonna be like, because when it first came out, it was like gory, and people didn't really catch on because they were like, yo, there's blood all over the place. And did you see him just punch him in the face and elbow his fucking eye and shit? And it's like, you coming out and dudes is done and they're just fucked up. And you're like, yo, this is some gory shit, man. And I didn't think it was going to catch on because I thought it was going to be too gory for, you know. But shit, that shit's been around. Fuck, UFC 203?
And it's
crazy.
It's, you know, it's bigger than ever. You know, it's not as gory, I guess, anymore.
It's not anymore, yeah.
And
there used to be broken bones like crazy and shit.
And they finally in New York finally lifted their MMA ban.
They had a ban?
Yeah, they were the only state in the country that wouldn't allow mixed martial arts. And they finally lifted it, and the UFC 205 is going to be at Madison Square Garden.
Nice.
It's going to be like one of the biggest. They're trying to make it one of the biggest cards.
That's crazy.
You know, well, we'll see what happens. They haven't even announced any fights yet because everything that they try to announce gets. Because also what's going on in UFC now, ever since, and it was kind of like the McGregor-Diaz fight when it was originally supposed to happen, the second one, kind of broke this, is the whole idea of fighter pay. Because there's a lot of money going through UFC and stuff now, but these lower card people are basically paying to fight or fighting for free after all their expenses and stuff and how much they get paid. And it's getting to the point where they're starting to unionize and stuff like that because they're just like, there's no reason for me to... Because everybody, like, we like to fight, but we're all here to make money too, you know?
Yeah.
And one of the big things right now is fighter pay, which I understand, dude. You're like,
yeah, I mean, you're getting your ass beat for shit, man. You need to get paid well.
After your expenses for training, getting proper training and stuff like that. A lot of these lower card, even some of the people that are on the lower card of the main card, you know, are basically fighting for free. If they win, you know, if they win, they might make a little money, but if they lose, like, they're basically paying to get ass whooping.
Man. Training, travel, getting hit in the face, and then you fucking gotta pay for that shit. That's nuts, man. That sucks.
And UFC just sold for $4 billion.
Oh shit!
So,
and you got fighters not getting paid? What?
And even CM Punk's appearance, and I understand why he'd get paid this much, but he got paid $500,000 for that fight, you know.
Wow. And
it's going to get a lot of eyes onto the UFC, but at the same time, you know, like, as someone who never fought before,
and he
you know,
lost. Yeah.
You're like, people are pissed off that you're like, I'm a like legit fighter, you know, on these cards and stuff, and I'm paying to come here, you know,
absolutely.
Basically in the end.
Like, he's just coming from wrestling, and
so, I mean,
it's all show.
I mean, he knew his value and everything, so you can't hate him for that. But at the same time, there's a big fight, you know, disparages in the fight pay for between, you know, the top guys and like someone Conor McGregor, he like his past few, I don't even know what the figures, but it was huge, you know.
He's making millions, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Even Nate Diaz in losing made millions.
Damn.
You know, so.
I mean, they got to do a third fight, don't they? They're gonna.
It's kind of going back and
tiebreaker?
forth. It's kind of going back and forth, and I don't know if Dana White wants it. You know, I could care less.
Why wouldn't Dana want it, man?
I don't know.
That's money.
I think Dana wants him to finally go back and like defend his belt on the lighter weight class that he has.
Yeah.
So.
Well, shit's crazy, man.
Shoot. I've been recording this whole time because this was a good conversation.
Oh, shit.
All
right.
But it's funny though. Yeah, we've known each other for a long time, and it's funny like how far you've come, man, since the first time I met you, man. I like when the first time I met you, man. You were driving a car that needed to be held together by like duct tape.
Yeah, man. No, it's been a ride. It's definitely been a ride, bro. It's You know, I think a big part about it, or part of it, is just staying consistent. You know, still making the type of music that I made back then, and I mean that was like what 2007 or some shit like that.
Yeah, I first met you about 2007, 2008 when
somewhere around there, back when you and Finale lived together.
Yeah, out in Royal Oak, and you used to come over.
You, Derek, and Tate. Just come over there, man, and record and just chill and hang out. And yeah, man, snatch your arm hair off.
Yeah, you used to always snatch my arm hair, man.
Yeah, man, why not? Funny shit, man. Have you flinching in the club and shit. No, it was those were definitely good days. That was back when I was living in Cleveland too. So I would travel up from Cleveland, man, and be here for the weekend. And yeah, those were good days, definitely. Traveling out to Traverse City, going to Beats by the Bay, and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, man. But I think I still make that same type of music, man. So I haven't abandoned that, and my fans, they love that shit, man. They love the consistency. So I always say consistency leads to longevity. So I mean, I'm cool, man. I like where I'm at. I'd like to stay where I'm at, to be honest with you, man. I don't really want to, get any bigger than I am right now.
It's cool that you've carved this cool little niche in hip hop, where you've been able to work with a lot of people that most people probably would dream of wanting to work with.
Yeah.
But you're not working with you don't got all these people on your projects because you had a bunch of dope money backing you.
No, man.
This is like mutual respect.
Mutual respect, absolutely, man. Everybody I work with is all about mutual respect. I only work with people that I like, man. I only work with people that I'm, a fan of. And if I'm not a fan of you, if I don't like your work, man, it doesn't make any sense. I don't care how much money you have. I'm not gonna work with you, man.
And I know you're big about when you're doing the projects that actually you work with these people in person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, talk about making sure that you're in the room with these people.
I mean, that's one of the few things we have left, man, in hip hop. With technology being so advanced now and being able to make albums over the internet and online or email or whatever, people you don't really get an organic album, man. You don't really get a natural, sounding album, and I think that's partly because people don't work together.
Mm-hmm.
They hit each other up on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and then they start emailing back and forth beats and verses and putting things together. Before you know it, there's an album of 15 tracks that they just put together over the internet,
right,
and then they're gonna put it out. I can't get with that, man.
I remember hearing that story a lot with guys that would sign to major labels and never meet any of the producers that they would.
That's crazy to me, man.
I remember reading a article in Spin magazine years ago with Wale, and after his first album, that was one of his major disappointments. He's like, man, I had all these beats from Swiss Beats and blah, but I was never in the room with any of these guys.
That's crazy to me, man. It's just I don't know. You just, like I said, that's one of the few things we have left, man, to take advantage of, man. Is getting in the same room with the artists we're working with. If it's one song or two songs, that's cool. If I send some beats off for a project, somebody else's album or whatever, that's cool, man. We don't have to get in the studio. But if I'm making an album with somebody, man, if we're doing a full length, 15, 16 joint project, and we're naming this album after ourselves, we're gonna get in the studio together and work, man. I want you to see my face and how I look when you come out of the booth after spitting a verse, man. And I want you to see, I want to see your face when I show you a new beat or present you with some more beats for the project while we're working. And I want to see you, I want to see how you make the ugly face when the beat comes on, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just a natural thing, man. I want to. It's all about reaction, and it's all about being organic in the studio and working together, man, and just kind of feeding off each other's energy, vibing out, even if you're just in the studio listening to other people's music or your own music or whatever, just vibing out and getting to know that person, man, on a different level. That's another thing. I don't work with people that, I don't just jump into working with people. I got to get to know you first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I tell people, man, my beats are my kids. And I kind of, it's like, I don't just hire any babysitter to come watch my kids, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I got to interview you first. I got to get to know who you are first, do some research, make sure that you're worthy and that you can handle it. You know what I'm saying? And kind of see what your past is looking like and all that good stuff, man. So same thing with my beats, man. I'm not going to just give them to anybody. Like, these are my kids and I care about them and I put my feeling in all of them. So, I need to know who you are and your track record and what you're all about and what do you have planned with my beats, like, all that stuff, man. And so I don't just work with people out the blue, man. I got to get to know you first, and then once we get in the studio, it's all organic, man. We already know each other. We're already vibing, building. We get in the studio and it's just natural, man.
When you're working on these projects, these full-length projects to people, and after you after you're done, you're vibing with this person, how do you, where do you find the nuances to where, like, you're like, okay, this is cool for this person? Once you that person sort of see something that they like in one of your beats, do you have an idea of where you can go with the other beats that you might have on hand? Like, where do you go from there once you kind of feel like there's a road to go down?
I mean, usually, man, I have a certain sound in mind. It doesn't necessarily have to go down that road, or a lot of times it changes up. But I have a certain sound in mind that I'm going for the project. And, I'll start out with maybe sending a batch of 5 beats over to the MC and just kind of getting the feel from that, what the reaction is to those beats. What they like, what they don't like out of that first 5. That kind of give me an idea of what they're going for, and then we'll kind of come together and I try to make MCs uncomfortable, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're used to a certain type of sound, I might not give you that sound. I might give you something different. Or if you're, it just depends, man. But making an MC uncomfortable, from what I found, always makes for better work, man. Makes for better music. And they just, somehow, man, it brings something out of them, man. That, like, case in point, I'll just say, like Verbal Kent from Ugly Heroes. Verbal Kent's a rah-rah MC, man. He's always been the type of MC that's just like, a slice your face off and then feed you to the giraffes, like type of dude. Like, that's how he always, he's always been.
Right.
His music has always been real rah-rah and braggadocious. But when we formed Ugly Heroes, I made him kind of step outside of that and give the people his life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And, people know when they hear an Ugly Heroes album, it's blue-collar, real-life music. So, in turn, making him uncomfortable like that, he's made some of the best music of his life doing that.
Yeah.
And now he realizes how good he is, spitting that type of life shit that, and telling people about what he's went through and what he's going through now and sharing with people. It's kind of like therapy. You know what I'm saying? And he realizes how good he is at it. Now he does it on his own. You know what I'm saying? And so just kind of like, not necessarily changing an MC or changing an artist into something different or molding them, but just like, trying to make them step outside the box a little bit.
Give them a challenge or something?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just something different. Something that they might not be used to, man. And, but, it's really all about compromise and, kind of knowing that MC's past work and what they like, kind of studying them and researching them and knowing what kind of sound they like, but also putting in some of the stuff that might make them uncomfortable, man. And, I don't know. It just comes together. They tend to trust me. That's one of the big things right there. So when I send them beats and I say, yo, trust me on this one, like, yo, this has to be on the album. Like, this joint is I might send joints over and be like, yo, this one and this one, there's no compromise. Like, these have to be on the album. And they're like, yo, of course, these are amazing. So it just all depends, man. I've never really ran into any problems, man.
How do you go about doing the solo albums where you just have like a collection of artists on it?
Like the compilation albums?
Yeah.
Now that's an album that's almost impossible to get in the studio with everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I did Grandeur, you know, I didn't get into the studio with any of them. Because there's 35 MCs on that album. You know what I'm saying? And they all live in different places in the US. So you know, you got Evidence that lives out west, you know, Raz lives out west, and then you got Sean P who lived out east, and you know, people who just live all over the place, man. So it just you kind of got to turn that into an email album. Right. Something I despise, but it's understandable with that type of album, man. And that one was more so just sending off beats. I knew which MCs I wanted on what. And
this is the thing where you're able to you're like, here's a couple, when you're sending stuff out to them, like, here's a couple beats that I envision you on. Like, do they feel like they have to be on these beats?
Well, it's like how
do they go about?
It's the thing, man. I wouldn't say it's obligation because they don't have to do anything. But first and foremost, it's my album. Mm-hmm. So if this is the beat I want on my album, and versus another beat, like I'm not going to give you another beat because I don't want that beat on my album. I want this beat on my album. So if you rock over it because I want you to rock over it, this is what I hear you on, you and so or whatever on this. And you don't like the beat, that's cool. I mean, no harm, you know. Then I just have to give it to somebody else. But this beat in particular is going on the album, whether you're on it or somebody else is on it. I need this beat on the album because this is the beat I want on my album. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to give another beat because you don't like this beat and you want this one, but I don't want this one on my album. I want this one on here. So it's kind of like, please, can you rock over this joint? But if you don't want to, I understand. I'll just have to get somebody else. No harm, no foul. It's cool, man. We'll work again down the road. You know, but that particular beat, that's what I want on the album because this is my album. But now, when it comes to your album, I'll send you a batch, and if you don't like those, then I'll send you another batch and whatever. That's your album. So you can pick whatever, you know, what you like. You know, I don't know. I didn't have any problems, though. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really have anybody saying, yo, I don't like this beat. I don't want to rock this beat. Can you send me another one? And I'm like, you know, I was dreading that, you know, because I know that not everybody likes everything that I do. That's not you can't go into this industry or this business, man, thinking that everybody's going to like everything you do because that's not the case. So I understand that by sending these beats out to certain, you know, artists, you know, they might not like them. They might not like this particular one and want a different one. But I didn't run into that, you know. And then you run into when you do the compilation album thing, and when the album finally comes out, and all the MCs listen to the album on their own or whatever, like, damn, dog, you gave me this beat, but I really would have liked that beat. You know, you get those, whatever, like, damn, man, I love the beat I'm on. This beat's dope. But man, I wish I was on that one. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're like, you know, it's cool, but
you already know that was about to happen.
That always happens. That definitely happens, man. But it's kind of what I envisioned. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted certain MCs to work together that I've never heard work together, and you know, just kind of putting people on the shit that I thought that they would sound good on, man. So.
Did you like on Grandeur? Did you ever have any examples where you felt like you were able to challenge any of the MCs with what you gave them?
No, not necessarily, because all the MCs I picked for the album are amazing MCs, and I think they're the type of MCs that can rock over anything. If I would have gave them the worst beat ever, I think they could have rocked over it and made it dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I picked these MCs because I'm fans of them. Whether they're old legends or whether they're young, new MCs, whatever. I'm fans, you know, I'm a fan of them and they're amazing. So I never really, I didn't send over anything with the whole challenge aspect in mind. You know what I'm saying? It was just kind of like, yo, this beat's dope. I hear you on it. Help me with this album and rock over this joint for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, that's just kind of how it was, man. No challenges, and I think there wouldn't have been any. I mean, they're all perfectly capable MCs, man.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, you got Chino XL and Finale on the track together. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. I could have gave them to anything, man.
Right.
And they would have spit just as good as they spit on the joint that I gave them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, I don't know. No challenges, man. None.
Outside of your own projects, whether it's compilations or there's the full-length collaborations, when it comes to the stuff that you've done for other people's albums, you know, generally, what's been your experience with that? Has it been good? Is it something that you like to do?
You know, it's funny, man. Being a producer, that's kind of like the idea of being a producer is sending off beat tapes and getting beats on, you know, all kinds of different people's albums.
That used to be the thing.
That was the only thing.
That was
really.
the only thing.
You know
That
what I'm
was the
saying?
status
Like,
quo of it.
you know,
all.
producers didn't make albums, man. That wasn't a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was your job as a producer, man, was to get placements. You know, so you would send off whatever, or you'd have somebody come over and listen to beats, and you know, it's like, yo, I'm gonna get joint on this dude's album, joint on this dude's album, 2 joints on this dude's album, whatever. And whether you got paid or not, man, whether you got upfront money or you got, you know, back end money, that's just kind of what you did, man. But now, I think we're in a time where it's a little bit harder to sell beats. You know what I'm saying? I've heard it from a few producers that are higher than me in the game. It's a little harder now to sell beats because you have so many people giving away beats for free.
Yeah.
You know, I've had people say, yo, how much do you charge? And I'm like, I charge this much. And they'd be like, oh, man, I can't pay that, man. And plus, I'll just get a beat from a man down the street who sounds just like you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
shit like that. And I'm just like, you know, what do you say? I'm like, all right, man, well, you know, I'm not going to lower my price unless, you know, it's mutually beneficial. But, so selling beats is kind of hard, man, because you got so many people giving away beats for free. Or you see people on Twitter talking about $20 beat specials and,
Right.
you know, shit like that. You're like, what? You like, what kind of beats are you giving them $20? What is this? So it's like, you know, I need something to do with my beats, man. So I make albums, and it's, you know, I'm always happy when I get placements, man. It's always cool to put beats on other people's, you know, albums, or when you know, my peers call me up and like, yo, Apollo, I need a beat, man. I need something that sounds like this, or I need, you know, I'm missing this on my album, or I need you on my album, man. Yo, what can we do? Or yo, I want to come over and listen to something, or send me a batch, or whatever. I'm always for being, you know, that producer and playing that role that the producer should in shopping beats and getting them on projects. But it's just a little different nowadays, man. And that's why I make so many albums with MCs that I'm fans of, man, because I need something to do with my beats. You know, they just, or if I didn't, they'd just be sitting around here collecting dust, man. And, you know, so I make instrumental albums, or I make albums with all, you know, people, or compilation albums or whatever. But I don't make beats to sit on. You know what I'm saying? I make beats for the people to listen to, and I have to put it out, man. I don't make shit to sit on.
Right.
You know, I'm not gonna sit on music, man. I can't see myself doing it. I'll sit on whack shit. I got tons of whack beats, tons of horrible shit, and I'm gonna sit on that. You'll never hear that. You'll never hear them joints, man, ever. You know, experimental shit, or, you know, stuff that I just didn't know what I was doing, or it's just shit that just came out whack to me. It might be somebody else's treasure. Then somebody else might love them. But if it's whack to me, personally, you're not going to hear it. You know, you might go through my catalog after I'm dead, you know, like they do in Dilla, and might hear some shit that you absolutely love. You might.
Right.
But you probably won't, because I'm going to burn my catalog before I die. So you won't get a chance to hear anything that I didn't want you to hear. So, yeah, man.
And if you didn't sort of, you know, put your, you know, go forward with, you know, doing your own projects, you probably would have never worked with any of these people if you had to wait for their projects.
Oh, absolutely, bro. Absolutely, man. Because I mean, it's just like good projects nowadays are not a dime a dozen. They're what is it? Few and far between. So, and waiting for somebody to come out with their project after I give them a beat or two or three, and I'm like, yo, what you doing with that beat, man? I gave it to you 3 years ago, bro. Like, and I had to start coming up with rules, man. Like, yo, I give you 6 months. Like, I don't let an MC hold on to a beat no longer than 6 months unless he can show me that he's doing something. Like, he can show me that, yo, he recorded to it, or, you know, he has something towards that beat, and he's putting it on an album or whatever, and you know, but if he's just sitting on it, man, being greedy, bro, you costing me money, man. Like, I could put that either on one of my albums, or I could slide that to the next MC, man. Like, don't sit on my shit. Like, a lot of MCs do that. They like to sit on beats for years, man, and be like, and then get mad when you sell it off or do something else with it. It's like, yo, you've been sitting on it for 3 years, man. Like, you can't do that, man. You're being greedy, and you're stopping my money and my progress. So, yeah, I mean, it's you got to find something to do with the beats, man, and we're steady making beats as producers. So, I mean, what you gonna do, man? I mean, for those who can sell them, man. I can sell them a little bit, but I don't sell them not near as how I used to, and a lot of times I don't have an interest in selling them. I might make something that's amazing, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be like Black Milk. I'm keeping that for myself, bro.
Right.
Like, that's mine. I'm putting that on an album that I'm putting out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, you know, and I set it to the side. I got a batch that I'll send off, which are all dope. I don't make, in my opinion, I don't make throwaway beats. So every beat that I send out, or every beat that I have in the catalog that's available, are bangers, man. There's something it's amazing. If it's not good to me, I'm not going to give it to you. Like, if I wouldn't rock it, then I'm not going to give it to you to rock. You know what I'm saying? So that's just, yeah. We need something to do with these beats, man. It's different.
And another thing you've been able to do because of the style of your beats is actually tour and be able just to play your beats.
Yes.
And people, like, especially overseas, love that shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's to me, at first, I was like, yo, this is the craziest shit ever, man. I'm literally traveling the world playing beats. Like, I go by myself with no MC. You know, a lot of times I'm with MCs, or, you know, I have a group with me or whatever. You know, I have people with me. But there's many times where I go by myself, whether it's out to Europe or Russia or Australia, New Zealand, or whatever, by myself just to play beats, man. That is crazy to me. But that goes to show where the producer is right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, the DJ has had his day. Not saying that y'all don't got your day still. I mean, there's nothing without the DJ. So
right. But it's definitely not our day these days.
The DJ has had, you know, the DJ had the forefront for a long time, where it was just all about the DJ. It was, you know, the DJ was the backbone for everything, man. Then the MC had the forefront, and it was like, you know, in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s, you didn't even know what a producer looked like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's many people that didn't know what Premier looked like, or DJ Muggs, or P-Rock. They didn't know what they looked like. You know what I'm saying? You could walk past them in the mall, and you didn't know who you just walked past. You know what I'm saying? You didn't know what a producer looked like. You know, and now that the producer's in the forefront, and we have been for a few years now, we got pictures out there, we got videos, we're just like, we're all in the forefront, and everybody wants to know first and foremost when a song comes on, yo, who produced that? That's the first question people ask, man. Yo,
right.
who made that beat?
Right.
Who made that beat? Like, yo, it's before the verses, the vocals didn't even start yet, and it's like, yo, who made that beat? That's the first question everybody asks, man, and that's, you know, why wouldn't you want to be in that conversation, man? I want to be that person. You know, when people say, yo, who made that beat? I say, yo, Apollo made that beat. That shit's crazy. But, yeah, man. It's just, I don't even remember what the fuck I was talking about.
Yeah, we're just talking about.
What were we going into? What was I going into before I went over there?
We're just talking about how you travel. You can travel.
Oh yeah. My bad. No. So, like traveling, man. Like going to different countries all over the world, man. Just playing beats. It's like, I think some people are catching on to that now. I think Preem and Pete Rock started traveling, playing beats. Alchemist and Just Blaze was doing it for a minute. A few people are catching on because when you go overseas, man, it's like there's kind of a different respect for the music. And there's a different respect for instrumentals, versus vocalized tracks, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's people, I could play beats for 4 hours straight, and there's people that will stand right in the front, and just vibe out to every single beat I play. I did that. I've did that a couple times, man, where it's just been a whole night of that shit. And it's, people don't leave. They vibe out to that. And I've been at places where, playing beats or whatever, and then, the beat set's over with, and then the MC comes out, or the MCs come out or whatever, and they're like, just play beats. Play beats. You know what I'm saying? They don't even want to hear any vocals. They're like, just play beats. And it's not like they're in the crowd like in the US. In the US, when you're doing a beat showcase or something, you'll look in the back and you see a cypher going. You'll see a big group of people over there spitting, or maybe 2 or 3 different ciphers going in the same room. Not over there. They just listen. They just vibe out, man.
Right.
That's the difference too between being overseas and being domestic. When you're playing for home, like whether it's here in Detroit or New York or LA or Chicago or DC, wherever you go, it seems like 75% of the people in the crowd are other producers and other MCs. You know what I'm saying? So they're sizing you up, man. They're sitting there, they're looking at you while you're performing, and they're like, I could flip that sample better than he can, or I could spit bars better than that dude, or they're like analyzing you and sizing you up, man. So it's kind of a different atmosphere. When you go overseas, that same amount of people, that same 75% are fans, strictly fans. They're not MCs, they're not producers. They have nothing to do with music other than the fact that they love listening to it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference, and that translates in a totally different type of support, whether it be monetarily or just emotional support. Just like, I'm here and I'm in this music and I have tears running down my face and I love this shit because it's amazing.
Or they'll just have their hands up.
Call and response. Like, everybody put your hands up. The whole crowd's just like, and they're yelling, and it's just like everybody's into it. And they're not sizing you up.
And then you just realize, I'm just playing beats. Right?
And then you realize, I do it all the time. I'm
not having a guitar solo. I'm not having a drum solo.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at a crowd of like 5,000 or 600 or 1,200 or whatever it may be. I'm looking at the crowd and I'm just like, damn, man. I'm literally just playing beats right now. Like I'm not a performer. I get on the mic, but I don't get on the mic on some like DJ Clue shit.
Right.
Like, yeah. I don't do any of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I literally come out. They know who I am. I say what I got to say. I get started. I start playing beats. They love it and go crazy, man. And it's like, and then when I got, I'm out with, an MC or a group or whatever, like me and Guilty, we done ran through Eastern Europe and Russia, and like we did damn near 100 shows on the we just came back a few months ago from doing Dice Game tour,
right?
And Dice Game came out like 5 years ago, man.
Right,
so,
you're still doing Dice Game
4 years ago. So it's like, and they still want us to come out there, and we like, cool, whatever, we'll come out. I do my beat set and I bring Guilty out and they go crazy, and it's just like they love underground hip hop, man. They love anything from Detroit.
Right.
Anything from Detroit. Detroit is one of those cities that no matter what you're putting out, no matter what you're doing, those abroad are always checking to see what's going on in Detroit, man. it's one of the few cities that they check for first and foremost about what's going on, whether it's an MC, whether it's a producer, what album, this and that, Dilla this, Proof that, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, they're checking for Detroit, and I love that I'm a part of, you know, the Detroit hip hop cloth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's crazy, man. This shit's crazy.
Yeah, I remember after Trophies came out, I interviewed OC, and he was telling me about your tours over there, and he was just like, man, I just, you know, see Apollo doing his thing, and I just go to him like, man, you just playing beats, and they going nuts, man.
Yeah, man.
He was so shocked. He was like, oh my, I can't, this is crazy.
It's crazy, man. And I don't go over as much as I used to. I used to go over all the time, and now I got like kind of a rule where, you know, especially since my life has changed, man. You know, I got a family now, and I'm married, children. You know, I'm kind of a little more, you know, rooted. But my rule is no more than 3 times a year, no more than 3 weeks at a time. So I used to go over for 8 weeks at a time, man. You know, be over for 2 months, pay my rent up, you know, for 6 months, and be like, I'm out. You know, obviously, this is back when I was a bachelor, and I can do that type of shit.
Right.
But, you know, I go over there and just do what I had to do. And many times, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year. Nah, it's just kind of like, you know, I do it, you know, a little bit more sparingly and try to stay home with the family as much as possible. But, you know, when I rock, man, they listen, and it's amazing, man. I love that shit. Love it. And we're about to do a domestic tour here. Not sure the dates yet, but we're going to run the East Coast, run the West Coast, do a little South, you know, a little Midwest.
Yeah, because you got the new album with Sky Zoo coming out.
Yep. So we're going to do a little bit, man, and see what the domestic's all about, man. And, you know, because I do spot dates and stuff, but I don't really tour the States much, man. So we're going to change that this year.
It's kind of tough sometimes to tour states, you know.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It's different. Like I said, the support's different.
You kind of hit, you know, can only hit those certain like key markets.
Yeah. I mean, and you want to go outside of those key markets, but you just know you can't really. I mean, the money's not there. You know what I'm saying? Even in some of the key markets here, the money's not there.
Right.
You know, and you know the support's not there. And
because it's weird, like in these other markets, they kind of consume other things, and it's kind of weird. Like, I remember like a few like years back when the whole like EDM boom happened, like these weird smaller towns all over the U.S. would have like 5,000 kids for some dubstep show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it was happening all over the.
Yep.
You're like,
and you're like, where'd y'all come from?
Right.
Like, where are you from, man? But. You know, but that's the good thing, too, about hitting some of the smaller markets, man. Some of the smaller cities and towns in the U.S., man, is they're not used to getting people to come. So when people do come,
yeah,
they're all over it. They're like, yo, I'm jumping on this, man. Nobody's ever came to my city. Or, you know, people come to my city maybe once or twice a year. So when somebody comes, and it's almost like, I don't even care who it is. I'm going, you know, like. I'm just going just for the experience, just to go and listen to some good music. They go, man, and that's why hitting those smaller markets is cool. But again, you know, the money is not necessarily always there, and you're kind of taking a gamble because you're hoping they come out. But what if they don't?
Right. Yeah, a lot of like the rock bands out there, they just tour like, you know, 3/4 out of the year, you know. Because they have to, but they hit all those towns, and then if they can go back, they try. If not, oh well, you know, they'll skip that time, you know, maybe another time, you know.
Yeah.
It's always kind of hit and miss.
It's definitely a gamble, man, you know. But.
And it's funny, like, hearing people from, like from the UK, bands from the UK, talk about, touring the States, because they're like, it's so wide open, you gotta drive everywhere. Like when we do a UK tour, we hit these, you know, same 20 cities, and you can do that in 2 weeks or whatever. You do that in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And you don't gotta really drive, you know.
shit, you drive too far, you're in another country, man. So,
Right.
I mean, that's how close everything is. Over
That's
there.
like the one craziest thing for them when they come over here. They're like, man, it's just like so much driving, man. You gotta drive
yeah,
in between everything.
it's a big country, man. They, but it's a lot of good places, a lot of good cities, and you can't neglect your fans. You know what I'm saying? You can't, there might be, even if there's just 5 people at your show, man, versus 5,000, you still got to rock for those 5 people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to worry about the people who are there, not the people who aren't there. You know what I'm saying?
And that's how a lot of people that do rap, whatever, was able to build a solid foundation in the States. Is like when they first got there. Oh, you 7 people came to my show. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're gonna be my street team here. So the next time I come
next
here,
time, word of mouth says
there'll be
the
50
show
people
was dope.
here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or 100 people next time. You know, then we're gonna build and build and build. You know, that's what someone like Tech 9 did. You know.
Oh man, Tech 9 is killing shit, man. He's killing shit. His merch game is crazy. Like his whole shit is nuts. What did he make, like $6 million last year? Or
Dude,
something
he made
like that?
he made a
Something crazy, man. I was like, yo, this dude is nuts, man. But strange music, man. They're doing their thing. They got a crazy cult following, bro.
oh dude.
Cult following, man. That's nice. It's good to have, man.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed money.
Right.
Guaranteed support, bro. Like, no matter what you make, type of music you make, you can come out with the worst album ever.
And Tech 9 puts out himself puts out 2 or 3 albums out a year himself.
Yeah,
Not even counting the artists he puts out.
yeah, it's true. So, I mean, he getting money no matter what. Absolutely, man. And all his fans are buying every last one of them. Plus a shirt and a hat.
He kind of took the page out of the Insane Clown Posse's book about merch and business and everything.
They got a crazy following too.
And he kind of went the same route and was even able to build upon it even better than what they were doing,
Yeah.
So
it's nuts, man. If you can get it.
okay, so you got this new album coming out with Sky Zoo. How things come about? Meeting up with Sky Zoo. How did this happen?
I mean, me and Scott have known each other for a while. We've always, you see each other in passing or at certain venues. I mean, we're in the same, I guess, subgenre if you want to call it that or whatever.
Yeah.
But nothing really ever came of anything, man, until we started touring together. We toured together back in 2014, and we joke around or whatever, and I gave him a beat for his album, and I did a beat for his album with Torre, Barrel Brothers album.
Yeah, that was a dope album.
Yeah, and they did a joint for me for Grandeur, and just the fans kind of caught wind of us working together, and they liked the chemistry. They liked what was going on. The music was good, and we had joked on tour about kind of doing some work, man, and getting together and making some more music, man. It wasn't really an album what we were talking about, just making more music, man, and because that sound check, I would play a bunch of beats that I wouldn't play at the shows.
Right.
And being on tour, he would hear some of the beats at the shows. I'm like, dang, man. But then I would play shit that I didn't play at the shows or whatever. He'd be like, yo, what's that, man? I didn't hear that. Like, yo, and so then we started kind of going over beats, and but really we just we kind of parted ways after tour, man. He went back to New York. I came back to Detroit, and but over that time, we started seeing just like mad Twitter messages and Instagram comments and Facebook wall posts about, yo, you and Sky Zoo should do an album together. Yo, Sky, you should get with Apollo and do an album.
So give the fans what they want,
man. Sky Zoo, man, y'all, man, y'all. And we saw that so many times where I hit him up and I was like, yo, man, I know you're seeing all these Twitter messages and all this social media about me and you working together. And he's like, dude, I'm seeing that, man. I've been seeing that like crazy. And I'm like, dude, man, let's just go ahead and make it happen, man. And let's go ahead and make this album, bro. Like, the people want it. We had talked about doing something, so we might as well carve out, some time and You know, I'll wipe out some shit from my schedule, man. You do the same, and you know, let's make this window of opportunity to make this album. So we did. Flew him out here. You know, I gave him all the beats, man, and you know, gave him time to conceptualize and you know, figure out what he wanted to do. And then flew him out, man. Stayed here for about 10 days, and we went over the tapes and knocked it out, man. And probably about 7 of those 10 days or something like that. And then the other few days, we just kind of showed him around the city, man. We just kind of chilled or whatever. But it was all work, man. All day, every day, all work. No play. We didn't go to the strip club or we didn't go to the club. No, we went to Slum Village at a show. It was like Slum, Guilty, Black Milk, Fat Cat over at Majestic. Yeah. So we went to that show. I was glad something was going on while he was here, so I can take him to it. And then, nah, man, we just, you know, he wrote and recorded the album right here, and you know, we did it. Came out great. Amazing album. Good music, relatable music, and that's it, man. The rest is history.
Is there any sort of theme to this album?
I mean, the theme is it's kind of like the same as what I like, man. It's this real life shit. You know, there's not really any. There's maybe a couple bangers on the album, but most of the album is just on some real life chill, just some cooling out, riding music, man. It's kind of what I'm into these days, man. It's kind of my mood. I've always made that, but I was always on that real hard, like, you know, grimy, you know, just banger type tip. Yeah. But I just don't. I'm maybe for every 10 beats I might make one of those now. Everything else I make, man, is just real chill and life. Cause that's me now, man. It's like, yo, I live a different life. You know, I'm a family man now, man. I'm not, you know. So it's just kind of like that's kind of my inspiration, man, and that's how I feel. That's my mood. But, you know, I was talking about earlier, man, about taking MCs out of their comfort zone, man. I think that was one of the things we did on this album. Making him uncomfortable and giving him the type of beats that his just his fans aren't really used to, you know what I'm saying, from him. You know, Sky's really, you know, if you hear his music, it's usually really orchestral and very, you know, a lot of instrumentation, really big. Yeah. You know, me, I'm a minimal producer, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very minimal with my drums, with my samples, and I like to keep it like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't add this and add that and overproduce, man. A lot of times I might underproduce. So, just kind of giving them something and making them rock over something that, like, there's a couple joints on the album that are drumless, man. Like, just some real, you know, dirty sample loop type stuff that that's not what he does. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, allowing him to kind of spread his wings over that type of shit, man, it's, you know, it was uncomfortable for him, I'm sure. But he kind of did that to me too. I got uncomfortable on this album. Like, I broke out the 808 drum kit, you know what I'm saying? I'm not an 808 producer, you know what I'm saying? So I got a couple joints on the album that, you know, 808s and double time hi-hats, man, and
kind of
turning
it up
like
a little
that.
bit.
You know what I'm saying?
Just turn it up
a little bit, a little bit, man. And it's but still, you know, it still kept Apollo Brown in it. You know what I'm saying? So you know it's an Apollo Brown joint. But so I think we made each other uncomfortable, which made for an amazing album, man. And yo, I love it, man. And September 30th, the plug.
Kind of going back, like, what sort of a kid were you growing up?
I was a very outgoing kid. I was kind of, I don't know, man. I wasn't tough. I was never tough. I was never a tough kid, but I was just really, like, I would tell my wife, man, like, kids, a lot of time kids didn't want to play with me when I was young because it was too rough. Like, I wasn't tough, but I was rough. Like, I was like the rough little boy who played too hard. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I tackled you too hard, or, you know, elbowed you in the face playing basketball or whatever. And nobody wanted to play with me really because of that. And
your boundaries were a little off.
yeah, I mean, I was always, you know, that type of dude. But, you know, growing up, man, it was, you know, I was always an athlete. And it was just, I was always respectful. I always made friends. I never had a problem making friends. I never had a problem, you know, being by myself either, and entertaining myself. So I don't know, man. I was a good kid. Never got in trouble. Never really got in trouble, man. I was a good kid. Didn't do anything out of the ordinary, man. You know, just like to play around, and you know, I was regular, man. Very regular.
What was your first, you know, sort of memory of music? What was the first things that you remember listening to?
Man. I mean, growing up, I grew up in Grand Rapids, so growing up in Grand Rapids was like literally top 40 everything, man. It was like there was no, you know, there was really no hip hop or R&B was even scarce, man. You know, growing up in Grand Rapids, man, everything was more so, you know, soft rock, man, like, you know, or alternative 80s or something like that, man. You hear a lot of Duran Duran or a lot of Journey.
Right.
You know, Journey would be on the radio, or, you know, stuff like that, man. So that was like, you know, usually what I was exposed to a lot, man. But my dad had a record collection down in the basement, man, and I would go down there and I would listen to like Richard Marx. I don't know why my dad had a Richard Marx album. But he also had, my dad exposed me to Sugar Hill Gang. And so I used to go down there and listen to that a lot, man. And that was probably my earliest, you know, memory of really getting into music and really liking the sound of it. Not necessarily analyzing it yet,
right,
breaking it down or anything like that, but just like, yo, I really like this song, you know. And Rapper's Delight was like, that was the shit, man. And my dad knew the words, and go down there, it was on a record, on a vinyl, and just like,
yeah,
go down there and listen to it all the time, man, and just kind of sit on the couch and memorize the words. And so probably like, yeah, man, probably Rapper's Delight, man.
Yeah, speaking of record collections, like, in your record collection down here in your basement, the top 3 records you have here, Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, Isaac Hayes' Black Moses, and Jimi Hendrix Experience, Are You Experience? These are all records that I got from my parents.
Word, yeah.
So it's funny to see all those 3 up there.
No doubt, man. Those are great records, man.
And the Jimi Hendrix, that was like my first album that I ever loved.
That's like an album that you have to have, man. I think if you, like, I'm not a collector. I'm not a vinyl collector. You know what I'm saying? You see, I have maybe 10 crates of albums, man, total. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a digger.
Yeah.
There's a difference, man. I'm a digger, but I'm not a collector. So,
right.
You know, I dig, do what I need to do with the album. If it sucks, I'm taking it back. I'm getting credits. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the albums that I have here are all albums that I actually like and all listen to. You know, so everything behind these, this is all stuff that I actually will throw on the turntable and sit back and listen to, and not use for just sampling purposes. You know what I'm saying? I
still have like the Jimi Hendrix Experience, like Are You Experience record that like my mom had. It has my mom's name on the back of
that's
it.
Dope,
You know,
man. That's dope.
So
that's dope.
Same thing with like the Dark Side of the Moon. It's like I had all these records that I got from my parents. You know, there was so much like good stuff in there. But it was like Jimi Hendrix, and like when I was like 6 or 7 years old, it was like Jimi Hendrix and the Who that really, and it was like the Who stuff from like the 60s.
Yeah.
Like Magic School Bus, My Generation, like, you know, shit like that, you know, that really got, and then my favorite band of all time, from that time to this day, Def Leppard.
Oh, wow.
Was my thing when I was
Yo,
like
how
6.
did my man drum with one arm, bro?
They, he designed this thing where he could do whatever he needed to do with the one arm with his foot.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So he had one foot on the kick, and then the other foot was like doing other shit?
Yeah.
Oh,
he was using both feet.
Wow, that takes some crazy hand, leg, foot coordination, man.
Yeah. They did design this whole thing where like he used both of his feet, and he used his.
So he would have one foot hi-hatting it, and he'd have the one arm on the snare probably, and then the whole other leg.
Yeah,
That's some crazy shit. I can't even play the drums regular with two hands. So, I'll go over Tate's crib, man, and I'll just play around, and I'll get the hi-hat going, I'll get the snare going, or whatever. I'll just be like, and as soon as I bring the kick in, all that shit just goes. I can't even do it, man. But no, that's just crazy. Def Leppard, man. I used to work out to Rocket, man.
Oh yeah,
Rocket is my shit. I love Rocket, bro. That is a great song.
Oh, definitely. I still remember like it was yesterday, like the day that the video premiered on MTV.
That's a great song, man.
Like,
yeah, I used to turn that shit on, man. It's like Rocket, yeah. I still don't know what they say right there.
Yeah. I'm the biggest Def Leppard fan, and I still never went back and.
So you don't know what they say right there?
No, I don't.
But you got Rocket, yeah.
I have no idea.
I don't know what the hell they say right there.
I'd have to go look it up on Genius to see what it says. But
no idea what they said right there. Where are they from?
They're from like Manchester, England.
Oh, they're from the UK. Oh,
yeah.
Shit. Okay. Yeah, no, that's.
I think Manchester. No, Sheffield, England. I always remember Sheffield because it was like that big steel town, and there's a bunch of other bands that came from Sheffield, and it was just like, it was one of those towns where like you either, like once you got out of school, you either worked at the steel mill or you didn't have a job.
Yeah. Like,
so everybody wanted to leave.
Yeah, one industry, man. It's like it's it.
And you're there all your life.
Yeah,
Either you go into that or you better leave.
I think I got that Face Value, that Phil Collins from my dad's collection. The rest of it, I know. The rest of them I bought. I know my dad has all these, and especially the Yusef Lateef. My dad's from Detroit, so that was kind of a staple.
Yeah.
But I think that Face Value, the Phil Collins joint, is my dad's, or mine now. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, and I got other things like other Isaac Hayes records and Al Green records from my parents, and Led Zeppelin, and
yeah, no doubt,
Black Sabbath and stuff. So I had all these like cool records like when I was like a teenager to like go once I finally like had a record player that worked and stuff.
Yeah, I used to go downstairs and down in the basement and act like I was scratching on my dad's records or on his record player. And he caught me doing it one time, and just man, I got it so bad. He was like, "Do you know how much those styluses are?"
Right, those things like
dog, man. It's I got in trouble so bad doing that, but I just you see it on TV, and it was part of hip hop, man. And you scratch, and I've always wanted to be a DJ, man. I remember when I was in college, man. I bought a pair of turntables and a mixer, man, and I didn't know anything about it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, I'm trying to scratch, and the shit's just not working. And I'm like, fuck, man, what is going on? This is horrible. I hate this right now. I was already making beats, but I wanted to be a DJ for some reason. I fucked around and bought belt drive turntables, which was the worst.
Oh, right, yeah.
I was like, but I didn't know it at the time. I just thought turntables were turntables, you know what I'm saying? These were belt drive turntables. So every time I would slow it down, it would just go, back into like, it was just like, yo, man, what? And then somebody was like, oh, man, you need to get direct drive, bro. And I'm like, what's the difference? He's like, man, let me show you the difference. Let me play on his shit. I think it was Benny Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because me and Benny Ben went to college together.
Okay, yeah.
And I used to go over Benny Ben's crib or over his dorm room, and he would teach me how to, this was around the time, he was teaching me how to DJ and how to, do certain things, and scratch and shit like that. And, he had the direct drive techniques and shit, man, and totally big difference. Like, I literally would come back to my room, I'm like, I wouldn't touch my shit. I'm like, yo, I don't want to touch these.
Right, you're like,
this is horrible. Belt drive bullshit. Like, it was the worst, man, and... but then I think that lasted for like maybe a month. And I gave it up, man. I was like, I'm not doing this shit. This shit's too hard. So I'm gonna stick to just making beats, man. And I wasn't any good at making beats, really. I mean, I was, but it was just like something I knew how to do. And I'm like, I'm gonna stick with this shit. And fuck being a DJ. Secretly, I think we all want to be a DJ sometimes, man.
Yeah, I think I do DJ. I am a DJ, but like I remember when I was young, I was like, for the longest time, I was like, oh, I want to do. That was like the thing that I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it took me years.
So you do it, man. It's like
it took me years to like finally get up to like the nerve to like want to actually do it.
Like I play sets. Like I literally I'll travel around. I play sets all over the place. But I make sure that they know that I'm not a DJ. Like I would never disrespect the craft and say, yo, this is DJ Apollo Brown, or call myself a DJ, or even call my set or whatever I'm doing DJing. Like, I'm not DJing. I'm literally a producer playing my favorite songs.
And the funny thing is that's what a lot of guys in the electronic music scene did. They're the guys that weren't DJs who made music and they needed a way of touring.
Yeah.
They became DJs and they're crap.
Yeah.
And you could tell that they're crap at doing it, but they still made a lot of money because the music that they were making was so popular that people would continue to book them.
Yeah. I kind of came to realize while I'm out playing my sets and stuff that a lot of the people, it depending on where you go, they don't care about scratching and transitions and stuff like that. All they care about is the selection of music.
That's where it's kind of gone.
You know what I'm saying?
Over the past however many years.
All the tricks and shit and all the stuff that, like, if you're going to watch DJ Jazzy Jeff, you know what you're going to watch.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You're going there for a specific reason to get a show, get a turntablism show. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was the Scratch Pickles or the X-Men or whatever, it was...
Yeah, you know what you're getting.
You knew what you were getting, you know what I'm saying? But I think if you're going to just listen to music, you could care less. A lot of times, scratching will just ruin it. You'd be like,
right.
You'd be like, stop it, dog. Or you have the DJ that keeps playing the same shit back over and over. You'd be like, dog, play the song, bro. Like, you just played the same shit back. You ran it back 20 times, man. And I'm like... just get mad because you're not there for that. There for that. You know what I'm saying?
Run it back.
Run it back again. No, dog, just play the song. Like,
rinse it, mate.
So it just really depends on what you're there for, and what the people want to hear, and I've come to realize that a lot of people it's all about selection, man, and especially at hip hop shows, they want to hear shit that, obviously the popular shit like the Mass Appeals and the Shook Ones and shit like that, like. But they also want to hear that grimy shit, man. They want to. I always play grimy, that grimy shit, that hidden number 6 on the album that I loved.
Yeah. But
I also go into my set with kind of an explanation. It's kind of like let's pretend that you guys are all my friends. You guys are all my best friends. And you're chilling with me in my studio, or you're chilling with me at my house or in my bedroom, man, and I'm about to play music. You know what I'm saying? This is what I would do. This is the music that I would play while I'm cleaning up the house. Or this is my favorite songs. I always go into it with that type of, let them know, like, yo, this is... So if you don't like this song, it doesn't really matter. I like this song. So I'm kind of, going into it with that. And I may even stop a song in the middle of it and go to a whole nother one, man. Like, yo, I'm tired of that joint. Let's go to a different one. Blah, blah, blah. Just on some, really, unpolished ass, on purpose, just so like, yo, I'm not a DJ. You're not going to hear crazy transitions.
Right.
You're not going to hear beat matching and scratching and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I use a fucking controller, first off. Like... I use a Twitch. I got this Twitch right here. I use this Twitch right here. I got 4 of them fucking things, man. Or I got my, this one right here that I travel with for the most part. I used to travel with that all the time, and then I just travel with this now. The, what is it? My Pioneer joint. this joint right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I traveled with that, and it's just I had to switch equipment, man. I used to always travel with the Twitch, man, and just that was it. And I'd have backups. I bring backups with me just in case. But I went from this MacBook to that MacBook, and this has the old operating system. This has the brand new OS, and little did I know, last time I went on tour, that this OS and this are not compatible. Found out at soundcheck before my first show, for the first show of that tour.
Right.
I was like, yo, we need to go to a Sam Goody, or not Sam Goody, but like a Guitar Center type store. You got one of those around? Because I have to buy new equipment now. And I'm reading up on it. I'm like, yo, these aren't compatible. That's not compatible with the new operating system. So I'm like, shit, I'm glad I found out at soundcheck.
Yeah, there's a big problem with a lot of music equipment not being compatible with the latest
that's
Mac system.
That's what they said at the store, man. And I'm like, because I brought all my equipment. I'm like, yo, can you get this to work together? And it was like, it doesn't match up, man.
Yeah, a lot of people haven't even upgraded to the latest operating system.
And I wish I did. I wish I didn't, man.
Still haven't, because so much crap is, whether it's Serato or whatever else, is just not compatible fully with it yet, so it's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah. And now depending on what the show is, like we got a show on Thursday, I'll probably bring this and that just because it's really easy, and I could just put it all in this little bag right here and carry it, you know what I'm saying? Instead of carrying this big ass bag with all the stuff that goes with that. That's the one I take overseas with me. And then this laptop, what used to be the old, now I'm just in this whole process of like switching things up, man, and kind of learning this new piece of machinery, man, and it's driving me crazy because I'm not a DJ. You know what I'm saying? Like, my whole thing with this was, yo, I need the smallest, most user-friendly piece of equipment I can get that I can just push a few buttons, do a few things, man, fade some stuff out, I'm good to go. And that was the Twitch, man, Novation Twitch. It was Serato Itch, it was right there at my fingertips. Everything was good, and now I got to switch, man. So, anyway.
When did you originally, start, getting the itch to, like, want to make beats?
It was funny, man. It was like, I think I started analyzing music probably around the same time that, Main Source, Breaking Atoms came out. Like, that is the album that probably made me really wonder, like, yo, how are they doing this? Like, this is amazing. Like, I didn't understand sampling or anything yet. But I knew that something was going on, man. Because I'm sitting here, like, I'm listening to songs, and I'm breaking down the drums, and I'm breaking down the music, and I'm noticing repetition throughout the song, and I'm like, yo, is that like a loop? Is that what that is?
There's a lot going on that album,
you know
man.
what I'm saying? Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this a loop, or is it, like, what is this doing? Like, it keeps going around the same, and I didn't know what a bar was at the time, but it's going around. I just noticed it's going around the same length every time. You know what I'm saying? And drums and just everything, man. It's like I knew that I didn't just want to be a listener anymore, man. I wanted to participate. You know what I'm saying? And I want to be a part of it. It didn't start till like 1996, though. I started making beats in 96. And then it was just like, it was obviously for the first 10 years, man, it was kind of I guess you would call it a hobby or something that I just was doing, man. And all the way up until probably 2007. Around the time I met you is when I really started, like, showing people what I was doing.
Yeah, 'cause I do remember you were kind of like in that little transition period where you're finally.
Yeah, I didn't even know, like, I didn't have a name. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, because that was the thing when when I met you, you weren't going by Apollo.
Yeah,
Brown.
I didn't have a name. Bro. Like, I wasn't. I had just gotten back into making music, man, and I was like, yo, my cousin and a couple other people would kind of. Because I stopped totally making music. Like, I didn't touch a beat in 2005, all of 2006. I thought I would quit. I was like, oh, this hobby is dead.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no fan base for what I'm doing. You know, whatever. And then in 2007, early 2007, my cousin was showing me a bunch of stuff, man. He was like, yo, there's a fan base for what you do, bro. Like, look at this, man. He was showing me, like, a bunch of Dilla stuff and a bunch of, you know, Preem stuff. And I was always up on, you know, that. But I didn't realize, like, there's fans out here that want that. You know what I'm saying? There's fans out here that want that music. They want to, that's what they want. They want that real, you know, quote unquote, real hip hop. And I'm like, yo, maybe I need to start making beats again, man. And it was like, I started doing it, and I'm glad I did. And then I didn't have a name, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, who am I? And Finale helped name me. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy because I did a showcase at, God, what was that little bar called, man? I think it was on 8 Mile. Shoes used to run shit there.
What, Buddha Lounge?
Buddha Lounge, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the Buddha Lounge, man. I had my very first showcase. Didn't even know what a showcase was, but I'm about to participate. You know what I'm saying? And I was living in Cleveland at the time, and she was just like, "Yo, you want to do this, man?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it." You know, and because Finale had put me on, and I came up on my way up from Cleveland. It's a 3-hour drive. The whole drive, man. I'm trying to think of a name. You know what I'm saying? Like because I have to write my name down on the list,
Right.
because I'm about to showcase, and they're gonna call me and then be like, "Yo, such and such, it's your turn, whatever." And I'm like, "Damn, I don't even have a name, bro." Like, so I'm all the whole way up, man. I'm trying to think of a name, man, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this and that. Maybe I'll call myself The Natural, or maybe I'll call myself. I don't even know, man. But I was like, so finally I was like, "Yo, Apollo, that's the Greek god of music." And I'm like, maybe I'll just call myself Apollo. Boom. There we go. There's the name, Apollo. But then I'm like, nah, man, I don't want something that's, you know, I want something that's more of a name, more of a first and last name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't want anything that was like The Machine, you know, or something like that. Like, I didn't want that. You know, I wanted, you know, on some like Kanye West type shit. It's like, you know, first and last name type, you know. So I'm like, all right, so Apollo, I'm going to keep that. Apollo Green? I contemplated Green a couple times. I did. And I was like, Apollo Green. I'm saying it to myself. And then I'm like, yo, what up, Apollo Green? Yo, it's Apollo Green. And I'm doing it a bunch of different ways and shit. I'm like, nah, that's not it, man. That's not sticking. And I'm like, I come up with Apollo Brown, and I'm like, Brown. It's like James Brown, man. That's one of my favorite artists. You know, okay. A nod to James Brown. All right, Apollo Brown. So I call up Derek, man, and, you know, I call up Finale, and I'm like, yo, I think I got a name, bro. And he's like, what, man? Tell me. And I was like, what you think of Apollo Brown? He was like, yo, that's it. That's nice. I like that. That's dope. Keep that. And I'm like, bet. My name's Apollo Brown. So I get to the showcase, and, you know, it's like mad people in there, man. I'm like all fidgety and shit. Like, I've never done this before. I've never showed my beats to anyone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I get there, I put my name on the list and shit, and finally it was like my turn to rock, and they're calling Apollo Brown. And I'm not answering because I don't know who the fuck Apollo Brown is, bro. I'm like, yo, who is this dude? And I'm just sitting there chilling, man. Like, and yo, they had to give somebody else my turn because I didn't come up. And so I went up there. I was like, yo, did you call? And they were like, yeah, we called Apollo Brown. I'm like, oh shit, man. I'm Apollo Brown. I didn't even hear you. I'm sorry. And so they ended up putting me on, and I was playing my joints. I think I played maybe like 10 or 12 joints. And the reaction of the people was like, yo, who the fuck is this? Like, who is this dude? Like, we know all the other cats in this room.
Yeah.
Who's this guy? Never seen him before. Never heard him before. Yo, and ever since then, man, shit, name stuck, sound stuck, everything. Then I think Shoes put me on another joint with like KT and Nick Speed, and ever since then, man, I was just doing mad showcases, and then I started beat battling and shit and doing all that stuff. But yeah, man, It's been a road, bro. It's been fun.
Do you look back, even if it's some? Do you look back and do you see, like, if there was like a song that you did early on that really sort of set the tone for, everything that came afterwards? 'Cause I feel like the joint you did with Finale, Bang Bang, really.
See, that's funny,
sort of
man.
set the tone for a lot of things. Even though I know you kind of hate that.
I hate that joint, dog.
And
And everybody knows that, and Finale knows that shit. I hated that beat. I couldn't stand it. He was like, "Yo, I need this beat," and I'm like, "Yo, the beat is fucking horrible, man. I don't want this." We're like, "No."
But we all loved it.
And everybody else loved that shit. And I'm like, "Yo, this beat is horrible," but it turned out to be a dope song. I like the song, you know what I'm saying, and it ended up growing on me, in time. And even though I didn't like the beat, and it was my part that I didn't like, you know what I'm saying, the beat. So, he did his thing, but I just didn't. Man, I was not in love with that shit. But that was definitely a joint that that kind of carried on to other shit, man. And Finale was, yeah. I mean, that was. I think the joint that probably cemented me in Detroit though was probably Contra with Danny Brown.
Yeah.
That was probably.
Yeah, that was a big one.
I'll go into places, man, now, and that joint will come on, in Detroit or whatever. Or like we'll be at shows and they'll play that shit, and you'll hear everybody just spitting all the words to it and whatever. And I'm just sitting there, just like, damn, man, that shit is dope, man. It's like a Detroit staple and shit. I'm like, yo, that's
no, it definitely was.
and I'm like, yo, that's crazy. But that was probably the one right there that really kind of. People always ask who produced that shit, and the name comes up, Apollo Brown, and oh man, I need to do some shit with that dude. So that was probably it right there.
To kind of wrap up this interview, like I know, like outside of all of this music stuff, that you're a photographer also.
I am, or was. You know what I'm saying? I haven't opened this bag in quite some time, but in that tripod over there, but. I was, yeah, absolutely. I've been published in a lot of different magazines and newspapers, and I used to work for the Michigan Citizen, so I used to do a lot of their press photography and shit for the newspaper and stuff. So, but I did it all on my, a lot of stuff. I had a business called Crush Media Group with Kevin Davis, man, my best friend. So he kind of took that over and continued it on because the music stuff started getting real crazy with me. I mean, I didn't have time to really devote to it, but I used to enjoy it, man. I still enjoy it. I just don't have a lot of time for it, man. When I used to shoot with Finale and shit, and shoot all his sets, and Invincible and Majestic Legend, and it's a lot of different people, man. I used to always love shooting artists and groups, man, and that was like my favorite thing to do was doing that shit. I used to shoot my own photo sets, man. I would set up my tripod, put the timer on 10, and shoot my own shit. Like that picture right there I shot, that was my own shit. Like I just be, but going down and shooting architectural landscapes and inner city, kind of contrast stuff, man, pretty and ugly, and I love that, man, and I wish I can get back into it. I probably can, things slow down a little bit, man. I can get back into it, but I enjoyed it. It was cool. I still do it every now and then. Hopefully, I can get into shooting artists again. That'd be dope. Yeah, fun times, man. A lot of, I'm not a jack of all trades, I wouldn't say, but I dabble. So, yeah.
Cool. All right, thanks for being on the podcast, man.
Hey, man, thank you for having me, bro. It's been a ride, man. We've known each other for a long time, and you're lucky I haven't plucked like a patch of hair out of your arm yet. Oh. I will before you leave, though. Believe that. You better watch yourself.
Uh-oh.
And
I'm running out of here.
Nah, man. This is what you think about the Orange Room, man? You like the Orange Room?
Oh, this is fantastic. Like,
this is a room I dedicated to myself, man. It's very vain. It's very
Yeah, you have all your stuff.
it's very selfish. It's very
Your face is literally all over the place.
It's very self-absorbed, you know what I'm saying? But it, you know, I think I earned this, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is my house, this is my studio, and these are all posters from overseas. You know, some of the posters I get over there. So I'm a writer, man. I require posters. So it's like, yo, there needs to be posters backstage when I go backstage. Like, that's just one of my things. So, you know, everything out, you know, aside from the Dilla poster right there, everything in here is my face and, you know, my name. But I think I deserved it, and I owed it to myself, man. And it was just, it's inspirational.
Right, it's a great reminder.
Yeah, that's and I look at the albums that I've made in the past, and I'm like, yo, I really want to top that, man.
And you could, and at any time you could have been like, none of this could have happened.
Absolutely, man. It could be blank walls, bro. It could be blank in here,
but you've done all this, gone to all these places.
Yeah, man.
You know, rocked all these shows.
Absolutely.
Made all this music.
This is, you know, it's just a small room, but it's my small room, bro, and it's dedicated to me. So I'm glad you like it, man, and I'm glad to be on the podcast, bro. It's a long time coming, man. I've seen the list of everybody else who's on the podcast, and it's like, damn, I'm not on here, man. We've known each other for a minute, bro. So no, it was cool, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you having me.
All right, thank you.
So that was the interview with Apollo Brown. It was always good talking with him. Go pick up his whole discography. It's all dope, all good music, all good hip-hop. So let's get on to the Knuckle Up segment with Vstylez. Welcome to the Knuckle Up segment of Fresh's Word for this week. As usual, my co-host Vstylez with me. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's good, K-Fresh? You good?
Hell yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Since we, talked a lot of MMA first in the first 2 weeks, let's get off into some pro wrestling first this week. And
okay,
first off, I gotta call you out on a little something, man. You went online.
Go ahead, give it to me.
You went online and you besmirched the beautiful name of Alexa Bliss, saying that
God,
she has a
man.
nose like Triple H. She is
She does. She has a.
She is a goddess.
Nose game.
She is a goddess, and you cannot besmirch the name of Alexa Bliss.
Oh. I mean, where did she come from? Like, where? I don't know. I don't necessarily get the WWE sometimes, man. It's like, what? Like, how? What's going on? What? Is she Triple H's daughter, or what's going on? How did she get a place like that?
Her quick, like in a nutshell, back history is that she was like a fitness competitor, and
Okay.
I don't know how she transitioned to going into NXT. I did actually read that somewhere, but it escapes my mind. But I feel like she has actually made a huge progress from her time in NXT to when she's been from this short period of time that she's been on the main card. I'm super enjoying her feud right now with Becky Lynch, and she's like I feel like she's such a good heel that I'm super enjoying it. And I'm actually enjoying a lot of the women's division stuff on SmackDown specifically going on. So I'm always, excited to what's coming next, with their specifically. I mean, the Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch feud, and even the Carmella and Nikki Bella feud. It's like they actually feel like they hate each other,
Carmella is another corny character. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's the whole solo act with her. But when I see her, it's like she's forced moonwalking.
But I still like her, though. I still like her.
To be the female version of Enzo, and it's like, what are you doing? That looks corny too. Okay, all right. And I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I can't front. I've been enjoying the women's product a little lately, but I just think certain people need to pay their dues, and Alexa Bliss and Carmella ain't really pay no dues, man. They need to, they need a kind of like a low few, within the women's division before, boosting themselves up to where they are right now.
I don't know. I feel like
To
both
me,
of
it's
them
like-
have actually improved so much in comparison to how other women in WWE have progressed over the previous years. So that's why I'm enjoying
talking
them.
I said, who are you talking about? Just the women in general?
Just, actually, a lot of the women in general, but Alexa Bliss and Carmella in particular, they actually have some really cool movesets in the ring, unlike some of the other women that have had, in previous years, I just feel like we're seeing a lot more from these women right now than, when it was like the Divas division and shit like that. The moment I noticed that was, okay, after the whole brand draft, everybody was like, oh shit, SmackDown really, they're, definitely inferior, whatever. But then around SummerSlam, they had that, specifically in the women's division, they had that 6-pack women's match. And then 2 days later at on SmackDown Live, they had like a 5-women's match. And these, and all the girls that were in this match were just going all out. And I was just like, it was action everywhere. And I'm like, whoa, this is actually super entertaining. And from there, they branched out into all these feuds. And I was like, this is actually really entertaining, man. I really enjoy this.
Yeah, I something about, I'm not a fan of necessarily the Usos, man, but which one of them is married to the female wrestler, the black female?
Yeah.
Which one is it, Jimmy?
Yeah, I think Jimmy's married to Naomi.
Naomi to me is the best athlete, in her and Ric Flair's daughter. Just in the
Charlotte.
ring stuff just looks real nice. Flair's daughter get that love. She doesn't get that love at all. I mean, you can do some of the things that she do in the ring and still don't get that love, and you got to lose to people like, I know this your girl, but you got to lose to people like
like
Alexa Bliss
yeah.
and it's like, wow, what are you are y'all ever go push these women? Are these women, finally go get that love? I like Naomi.
Yeah, I've always liked Naomi. She's always been, and she's actually one of the most athletic people in WWE. Not just women, but
not just women.
She's one of the most athletic.
She don't get that same look though, man. I'll be like, man, what's going on, man?
Yeah,
but WWE starting to make me mad, man. I some of the things I see them do, it's like, man, why? Okay, I get it, I guess.
Yeah,
they completely taken my man and made him the new version of Coco Beware.
Oh,
what?
You know
what I'm talking about.
What's his name? Why is it
You know who I'm talking about. Man.
I was gonna ask you about this.
Dude.
Why? Oh, Rich Swann.
Nah, not Rich Swann. The muscular short black dude. They be doing the flips in the ring and stuff like
Apollo
that.
Crews.
Apollo Crews is the new Millennium Coco Beware. When he go out now, unless it's against a wrestler that I don't know or pug, I expect him to lose. And he has too much talent just to be losing every week to these, to these guys that's, they may have a different gimmick to him, but less inferior than what he is, man. That dude is like, he got moves. He can put on a hell of a wrestling match, man. But I don't foresee him, going past the Intercontinental Championship. I love the fact that AJ Styles is champion right now.
Oh yeah. I actually wanted to ask you about this for a while now, and I brought up Rich Swann, just now in regards to, and then you have Apollo Crews. when it comes to like black wrestlers, what's sort of that line where it's entertainment and shucking and jiving? Because sometimes, like I've asked you this before, like the beginning of the New Day, when their thing wasn't going over and they're doing a lot of dancing and stuff. Like, where's that line drawn where it's like, where it kind of becomes offensive?
Well, if you've been watching, wrestling like how we watch it, we see things, man. There's never been a WWE world champion, a black wrestler. There hasn't been one guy that's held, that belt.
Right.
People want to say The Rock, da 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 da. I mean, yeah, that's true, but they don't recognize the black side. Other than when they talking about Rocky Johnson. For the most part, they focus on the Peter Maivia side, man. So they talk about the Samoa side that they really do. The black side, and he's not. I mean, I love The Rock, but the real is, he appeals to all.
Yes.
But the WWE don't. To me, they don't celebrate that side of them. They celebrate the Samoa side of them. There has never been a WWE black champion. You got, WWE World Championship, the old gold belt that Ric Flair had. Yes, you had your Booker T's, you had your Mark Henrys, they've had those belts.
Yeah.
But to me, the legitimate belt, is the WWE World Title, and I don't know what it is, man. It's like, why are you afraid to put the belt on one of us? I think. Don't get me wrong, it's sad when you look back and Ron Simmons, and I'm a huge Ron Simmons fan, but, you go back, Ron Simmons is our first black world champion.
Yeah.
And that belt back then was watered down, because of what was happening with NWA, WCW, but to never see one in the WWE, it's like, wow, man, I guess we good enough for certain things. We'll get them tag straps, or we'll get the Intercontinental Championship. But I've yet to see, okay, yeah, Jacqueline, but it wasn't like, a long run. They just promote their wrestlers differently, man. And I just noticed that, our top guys over there always wind up being, the people that almost got it, but just didn't get it.
They'll never be like the face of the company type wrestler.
It should be. I just think now we're in a new age to where you can have a lot. It's a lot more you can do. With your African American wrestlers than have them with these corny ass gimmicks, because if you really think about it, and this what burns me sometime about, WWE and Vince, the New Day gimmick was really meant to fail.
Yeah.
Them dudes, they made that gimmick work, and once they made the gimmick work, the fans got behind it. I hated it initially when they,
because the original idea of it was like this sort of positivity coming from the church, but we're gonna be heels type thing, And
that shit was cool.
It was an awful premise. It was awful, but they were able to take this shit and shine it up into something that they got over with the crowd.
Like who does? That's why I started rooting for them, because individually, I felt like Kofi Kingston's his talent is just he has incredible talent, man. I got a lot of respect for that dude. I remember I started liking Kofi Kingston, man, when he was in a Royal Rumble match. I always felt like he had talent, but when he was in a Royal Rumble match, he got knocked out. and he walked on his fucking hands to
Dude,
not get eliminated.
That was
outside
incredible.
Say again?
That was incredible. That was one of the best moments.
I've never seen nothing like that in my life. I was like, oh my God, look at this. And I was already a Kofi fan, but I had never seen nobody do no shit like that. And, you know, when the WWE they see the same shit that we do. How is it that you don't reward those type guys? And I guess in their way they reward them with the WWE Tag Team Championship and them holding the titles for over a year. And so, I mean, that's all good. That's cool. But they didn't believe in that. They didn't believe in that gimmick. So that's not them winning. That's the New Day winning. And every week I foresee eventually they're gonna cut that off button on the New Day. What are all three of them going to do there? You know, I mean, it's hard for black wrestlers, man. So I root for them guys because they wasn't the guys that really was getting rooted on by the company. Them dudes was given a gimmick that pretty much, if it had been anybody else, they would have failed. Them dudes took something, ran with, you know, the fans love it, you know. Good guys, bad guys, it doesn't matter. When the fans are saying, "Hey, this is who we want to rock with," sometimes, man, you have no choice but to listen to it, man. Hopefully, in the next round of their solo event, because eventually it's going to happen. Don't know when, but you know what's going to happen when they lose the tag team titles. Are they going to lose their luster? Big E is, the biggest guy of the three. You know, what's going to happen with him? Because we really didn't like Big E back in the day. And then Big E, they transform a shucking and jabbing gimmick into some shit that, I like seeing every week. So a lot of people got a problem with New Day and their shenanigans, man. Them dudes make me laugh, so that's all I care about.
Right, and a big part of their whole thing now is they always keep it relevant. They always throw in stuff that's going on, like in real life, and that's why they keep it fresh, and then they throw in stuff that are actually real life to them, like all the video game references and shit like that. So that's why they're always continually, being able to get over with the crowd. Sometimes they do some things that, that fall flat, but then they, the next week they do something different. They realize, okay, that shit didn't work.
Yeah. But they had to force the WWE's hand, man, to get behind them, man. I just, when motherfucker don't, it's like, man, oh yeah, this shit ain't gonna rock, man. This shit, then the fans start loving that shit. Now it's like, oh yeah, we need to get behind them. Fuck out of here, man. You got one of your top wrestlers on there that can do incredible things in the ring. Xavier Woods is, if you didn't know it, other than him blowing that trombone, he's a talented cat. When you start watching him wrestle and, it's like, wow, this dude is he's a talented guy, man. But he ain't going to get that. To me, he's the icing on the cake when it comes to the New Day because of the things that he can do. The blowing the horn and being able to talk the way he talks, man. Them dudes, they all make magic in the ring. But I wonder, like I keep going back here, what are they going to do when, it's eventually their run is going to come over? How is it going to affect all three of them? They're not going to get that push, that push that, like say if, hypothetically, if it was AJ Styles, they're not going to get that look. They ain't going to get that. They're only going to be reserved to, tag team or any other secondary